everyone, and welcome to Philo for Thought's final Empowerment Summit podcast, which is also part 12 of our Resilient You series. Today we're going to talk about personal and professional flourishing. But before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Gabriela Pizzolo, our former intern, who did a version of this presentation for her launch activity at the new Health and Wellness Odyssey of St. John's University. So a shout out to Gabriela and to all the young women out there who are forging their path in work and in life, because it is the International Day of the Woman. So now, without further ado, we're going to proceed with our presentation on personal and professional flourishing. This podcast is designed for two audiences. The first are individuals seeking mindful forms of intellectual advancement that will lead to their personal and professional flourishing. Next are the audience of instructors, coaches, and related professionals seeking to help motivate healthy modes of thought that will lead others on a path towards flourishing. We do have the 11 other parts of the Resilient You series, so for those who are interested, please subscribe to Philo for Thought's YouTube channel and you can listen to the other 11 parts at your leisure. So personal professional flourishing consists of 5 key concepts. The first is SIPs, which are the flourishing basics. Next is FAST, which has to do with effective analysis. Next is SMART, which has to do with effective self-management. Next is SMILE, which has to do with effective positive communication. And then finally is SHINE, which is about effective positive engagement. So what is human flourishing? It's Evdemonia, which refers to a concept that was fully developed by Aristotle in his seminal work, Nichomachean Ethics, which provides basic guidelines for the establishment of practical ethical principles that apply to any scenario in work and life. 5 aspects of the human being must be satisfied for substantive flourishing to be possible, mainly the spiritual, intellectual, psychological, physical, and social aspects of the human being, which exist in all of us. Why are these important to consider for mental health and wellness? In modern times, the spiritual aspect focuses on what animates or motivates a person, what empowers a person, what allows a person to build faith in themselves, those around them, and the greater world or universe in which they exist. The intellectual aspect focuses on acquisition, sorting, and processing of sensory data, acquisition, sorting, and processing of non-sensory data, situational awareness and adaptability, competent mindful assessment of all facts, and the general ability to measure past, present, or future actions with reason, deliberation, and consistency. Finally, the psychological aspect focuses on emotional intelligence, or EQ, and the ability to receive, process, and respond or adapt to the world around us through active listening, which is another topic that we've covered in several of our other podcasts. Because of their metaphysical purpose and nature, these 3 aspects overlap and impact one another, and these 3 are going to be our focus for today. So what is effective analysis? Effective analysis refers to the ability to identify, process, and understand something. Now, while modern definitions of analysis are linked to psychology, the earliest introduction of the concept actually does go back to ancient theories, including those of Aristotle, on logic, rhetoric, and epistemology, which is the theory of thought. In order to engage in effective analysis of oneself or others, one must think fast by being mindful and attentive to one's feelings, actions, sayings, and thoughts, in addition to being empathetic towards others and making an effort to see their perspectives through active listening and situational awareness. So, why are these important to consider for mental health and wellness? Mindful attention to one's feelings and thoughts allows for clear, enhanced understanding of different perspectives, motivations, and intentions. Mindful attention to one's own sayings, as well as broad and open-minded reception of the common expressions of others allows for the more precise identification of questions, problems, new points being made, and so on. The words one chooses are causally connected to both our thoughts and feelings. Similarly, actions have a causal connection to both thoughts and feelings. Action speaks louder than words is a popular expression that refers to consistency between what one says and one does. Actions and expressions are said to relay a person's true intentions. Emotions and biased thinking pose obstacles to logical thought and processing. Lack of attentiveness or awareness, or cultural and industry-specific distinctions often leads to misunderstandings in communications and also breakdowns in possible future collaborations. Next, what is effective self-management? It refers to a variety of things, including time management, self-awareness of the things in which one excels, the things in which one does not excel, factors that motivate or inspire us, factors that are toxic and demotivating, and etc. Okay? As well as organization and structure, specifically goal setting. Again, in this respect, Aristotle was way before his time in seeing the need for structure in work and life. His theory on means and ends and goals is carefully outlined in Nichomachean ethics. For our purposes, we're going to reduce that down to an effective self-management acronym called SMART, which refers to specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely guidelines. Why is this important for consideration of mental health and wellness? Mindful attention and adherence to one's long and short-term goals has a significant impact on what they will be able to learn, retain, and use in both work and life. In work, school, and life, goals should be specific and purposeful. One's actions should always align with specific goals that are set, even though sometimes the initial goals that we set don't get achieved through the path that we initially thought that we would. So perhaps you would major in one area of study and then discover that you really need to major or minor in another area of study in order to really consolidate the skills that you need to achieve your greater goal. All right? Next, each goal should be measurable in terms of having reasonable milestones or intermediate goals that indicate one is on the right track to achieving their intended purpose. So basically, this refers to the process of being able to see within an immediate future whether or not you're on the right track, and understanding that there are some small adjustments that need to be made in order to reach your greater goal. Next, goals should be attainable and based on a person's collective training, experience, and etc. Actions, resources, and milestones leading up to a specific goal should be relevant to the achievement of that goal. Oftentimes, information and resources that are interesting but not relevant must be discarded. Even though they might be fun and entertaining, some details have to be set to the side in order to achieve the main goal that you have in mind. Finally, goals must be achieved in a timely manner, without procrastination. Procrastination and lack of focus impede one's intellectual flourishing, and if not addressed, it can also lead to lasting lack of confidence. Next, we're going to talk about effective communication, which we deal with the acronym SMILE, which refers to structure, meaning, imagery, language, and effect. Effective communication exchange refers to the proper strategic exchange that allows all parties involved to understand one another clearly. In rhetoric, Aristotle maps out a strategic plan for persuasive communication, namely, karyos, logos, ethos, pathos, and telos, otherwise known as klept to my philosophy students. In modern educational circles, however, these principles were outlined as SMILE to allow younger mainstream learners and elementary level educators to discuss the principles more easily. Now, why is this SMILE system considered important to mental health and wellness? Mindful communication leads to intellectual advancement. Therefore, structured and deliberate discussion, or logos, allows for one's purpose and perspective to be shared more easily. Next, meaning, including the imagery and language a person chooses to use, are heavily impacted by factors beyond the speaker's intended message, or ethos, including context and intention, otherwise known as telos and karyos. Long and short-term effects, or pathos, of an informational exchange depends on who is involved in preparing the content, who the content is intended for, what the goal of the exchange is, what methods are used to convey the relevance of the goal, and whether there is room for misunderstanding, either accidental or deliberate. Intention, strategy, and active listening are key to any effective intellectual learning exchange. Next is one of our favorites at Fuel for Thought, Rise and Shine, a theme for life. So Shine is a system for effective, positive engagement, and it has to do with sharing, helping, igniting, navigating, and the overall theme of excellence. Fuel for Thought urges students and young professionals to take every opportunity to learn as they shine by engaging in elevating others through philanthropy and community outreach. Share your knowledge with others. Ask to learn about the big questions or issues in your area of interest. Help those in need. Direct them to good resources. Pay it forward. If you have a good mentor, that's great for you, but now become the peer mentor or the community leader who helps others. Ignite intellectual and professional interest for others through your networking practices. Navigate your connections and experiences to ensure that you stay on track. And finally, excellence. Maintain a standard of excellence in all that you do. Steadily excel. Don't settle for less. Elevate others as you advance. In doing this, you cultivate a community of trusted peers that offers reliable feedback to you as each of you seeks to fulfill your goals. Now, why is this concept of shine important to considerations of mental health? It's basically a support system and network that you're creating for yourself. In Nichomachean ethics, Aristotle emphasizes the importance and value of friendships within the context of his discussion on ends and means. While friendships can be utilitarian, the more robust interactive friendships lead to spiritual elevation as well as intellectual and psychological growth, or SIPs, which we were talking about earlier. Mentoring and coaching often allows for the exchange of ideas and perspectives leading to this type of holistic growth. In looking to satisfy personal goals, one usually factors in goals that meet the needs of their community, aka the greater good. Community engagement is an amazing opportunity for personal and professional growth, or SIPs, as we talked about earlier. SIPs, fast, smart, smile, and shine are all interconnected in a variety of levels that contribute to holistic flourishing for lasting personal and professional growth. We highly recommend that you engage in each of these. And now, one more time, in celebration of International Day of the Girl, October 11th, I'd like to share a quote from Maya Angelou. "I am a builder. Sometimes I have built well, but often I have built without researching the ground upon which my building. I raise a beautiful house, I have lived in it for a year, and then it slowly drifts away with the tides, for I had laid the foundation upon sifting sand." Now, what this refers to is the fact that we have to be adaptable towards change, okay? Women are called upon to be strong individuals in their life and in their personal and in their professional life. And so at this time, I'd like to remind all our listeners to remember to lift a sister up with kind words and a helping hand. One kind gesture can empower someone and enable amazing progress. Pass it on. With that, we ask you to hashtag and share our videos with your family and friends. Hashtag positive professional identity and go girl.